Welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing an Etsy vintage haul with you. As you may know, I sell stationery on Etsy, which is considered a handmade item. But long before I was an Etsy seller, I was an Etsy shopper. One of my favorite things to buy has always been vintage jewelry and accessories. I thought I would share some recent purchases with you and a little advice. My most recent vintage purchase was 3 pieces of jewelry from a seller in England. The seller's name is Malvern Jewelry. I'll put a link below. I don't remember the individual prices of the items, but the total was around $50 with shipping. I liked this little piece. It's sterling silver with a little topaz jewel dangling. I thought it was really cute. I've worn it a few times. It sits a little awkwardly. It's the only thing that kind of shifts over. I know this was the most expensive piece, and this was the one I was most interested in. Once you're ordering something, then sometimes it makes sense to combine the shipping and order a few other things. And I actually love this one necklace. I think it's sterling silver. The chain is sterling. And the pendant is cubic zirconia. It has kind of an Art Nouveau feeling to it, the way the leaves are shaped. And I also like the way the chain is. This is a dumb little thing, but because you can always change the chain, but I like the way the chain is because the links are really open, and if I want to shorten it, I can just make it as short as I want, because sometimes I just want to make it work with whatever neckline I'm wearing. This was the one that got my attention, of course, and this is the one that I wear more. Also have been loving, I don't know, I always love the puzzle ring 3 silver ring things, and these are sterling. They do say $9.25 on them. I think it was less than $10. The only thing is I should have looked at the size. I don't know my ring size. It fits my ring finger best, my wedding ring finger, which I'm not married. I don't need to wear something on my wedding ring finger, but let me put it on there to show you. I usually wear it on that finger on my right hand, which I can get it on and off, but not on camera. I've been surprised at how much I like wearing this, because sometimes, especially right now, I walk dogs, and so I'm just like bundled up and during the day when it's cold, and so it's nice to be able to put on a little something that shows, and you just feel a little pulled together. This is actually an old purchase. I'm not gonna dig up the name of the shop because I wouldn't even trust that they're still around. I haven't bought them in a while, but one of my favorite things to buy on Etsy Vintage is scarves, and this one is Diane von Furstenberg. I think I bought it because I love the colors and the pattern. So that's very easy. And you can find really great scarves. Usually the sellers are really honest about if there's any holes in them or where and what the materials are. I haven't had any issues with that. I just tried and failed to show you how to do this on the Android, because on my little Android tablet. Within the app, you can filter. You just need to go down to item categories or something and make sure that you choose vintage items only, because otherwise you'll get a lot of vintage inspired items. And jewelry on Etsy, they're just not good about some. You can find really nice handmade pieces, some of which are expensive, some of which are well priced. A lot of them, though, Etsy is not vigilant about making sure that people are not reselling things they bought on Alibaba. So some of what you get, especially in the lower price ranges, is garbage. But vintage, they say it has to be 20 years old. I have no idea how well they enforce that. I've gotten some really nice pieces. So I'll just put in some screenshots that show you how to limit your search to vintage items. The other thing that I bought recently that was a pretty big risk was actually 2 blazers. I'd been thinking about a boucle jacket. I don't know why. And I didn't want to spend a ton of money on it. I don't know how much I'll really wear it. Found one from a seller. She used to be in Ontario, and she had just moved. Her name was Shopping Demon. She had just moved to Germany, actually. Here's the jacket. I don't know why I was in the mood for this, and when I was looking around, I'll insert a picture for you. I found a picture of Barbara Bush, for some reason with Michael Jackson, wearing almost this exact same blazer. I have no idea why I was in the mood for this. I think it will be fun to wear at I have some kids concerts and stuff coming up that are in the evening and they're kind of cold, so I thought it might be fun. And so it was $15, but of course shipping was $15. And I looked around at the rest of her shop and made an even better purchase, which is really for my daughter. That was a size medium, which with vintage things, it's better to go size up. I will say it's good to measure, it's good to know your own measurements, but it's also good to measure similar items of clothing that you have that fit you well, so that you kind of know, because they'll give them like a measurement under the armpits, which isn't, you don't want that to be, if that's exactly your bust measurement, it's going to be really tight, especially on something like a blazer. A lot of times the measurements they can give you would be like the width of the chest and the length of the piece for a blazer. I have not ordered vintage pants. I would be a little nervous about that. It's the first time I've ordered really what I would call clothing and not accessories. And we actually got 2 for $2. I kind of thought that one or the other would work out, and my total bill, each blazer was like $15 and the shipping was $15. So I was like, okay, if I get one good blazer for $45, I did really well. And I do think I'm gonna wear this. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on this type of blazer because it's not a staple that you wear like every single day or anything. When I looked around though, she had this black blazer. It's kind of a twill, like a heavyweight, like khaki pants material. Has like this nice little edging on it, which I'm sure you can't see. Maybe you can on camera. It's a size small. I got it for my daughter, and it fits her a little better than it fits me. I can show you. She's worn it quite a few times, so I'm actually very happy with this purchase. But here, let's show you the black blazer. When you're looking at vintage clothing, you kind of have to ignore the sizes. Certainly don't expect them to match up with modern sizes. And these pieces, like I said, they are supposed to be vintage. They are supposed to be 20 years old. I was a size 6 in jeans 20 years ago, and I'm a size 4 now, and I weigh 20 pounds more. There's some great quality pieces out there, so don't be deterred. Look at the item measurements, and if the seller hasn't provided item measurements, don't be afraid to, there's usually a button that says contact the seller, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I will say, on behalf of all sellers, read the item description first before you ask questions, which on the app I will show you how you do that, because sometimes it shows you the picture and it gives you the item title and it doesn't give you the description. So I will insert here what you need to click in order to make sure that you can read the whole item description so that you get the details and the dimensions of the item. If the seller hasn't provided any dimensions that you're interested in, there's a button to contact the seller and definitely ask questions before you place an order. You can also look at what their return policy is. In the case of these jackets, I knew I was just taking a risk, because even if the seller was willing to take it back, she paid $15 for shipping. I'm not asking for her to pay me. I wouldn't be asking for a refund on the shipping charge. So even if I sent her back both blazers, it would cost me $15 to send them. It would cost me that, at least, probably, to send them to her. There's no possible return. So you do want to get as much information as you can. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Most of the questions that I get asked, I wish there were a polite way to say, I can tell you didn't read the item description. That is something Etsy sellers face a lot. Be considerate about it, but don't be afraid to ask questions. Like I said, I have gotten some of my favorite items on Etsy Vintage, and I will continue to shop there. It's just been a really great way to find pieces. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I love sustainable fashion, and so this is a way of keeping items out of landfills and keeping me from buying. There was no reason for me. I could have bought something similar to this on Amazon, but then that causes a new item to be created, and there's no need for that if the item that I want is already out in the world. I hope you enjoyed my little Etsy vintage haul. If you ever shop on Etsy, let me know what you like to buy there. If you're new to my channel, I'd love to see you again, so click subscribe below. I still have a few more videos to make for Fashion Week, so I'll see you soon.